Welcome to this PAECT Pod Short featuring our special guest, Scott Snyder, Papa Keystone.
I'm really talking about KTI. And if we're going to talk about the summit, really, we need to have the summit authority on the show. So I think we need to make sure to pull in a special guest. What do you think?
I think that would be best.
All right, here we go. All right, here he is, Scott Snyder. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, I'm doing well, boys. How are you?
Good.
Doing well. This might be the first time we've had you on the pod.
This is the first time I've been on the pod.
See the trick, Dom? Don't give them a lot of time to think.
Yes.
Hit them with it real quick and then already have them listed. And it worked this time. It worked. His people didn't have to worry about getting back to me.
I always defer to the other lead learners in the stars, so I've avoided it for 30 episodes.
Yeah, it's all right. 32. It's the magic. We hit the sweet spot. All right. So talk to us a little bit about, that little emblem you have on your shirt there, little KTI action. What is the KTI Summit?
The KTI Summit is it's the culminating event of a program that's existed for coming up on 20th anniversary since it all started off. But it's comes after a nomination from the building or the district level, and then an application, and then people get invited. The best of the applications get invited to Summit. So it's a week-long commitment at a very low cost, and people get a chance to be there and experience, I guess everybody refers to it, the magic that is KTI Summit. So.
Yeah, definitely. So all the nominations are rolling, and they tend to open up earlier and earlier every year. Huh? I believe.
They are not open yet for 2024, but they will be somewhat soon.
And I get one of the big things to say is for any past star, any past lead learner, once the word gets out, because you tend to notify all of us, hey, it's opening. It's it's really our job to be that mouthpiece to push before email blasts get sent out to different people along the state, but for us to really reach out to people in our building, say, hey, it's open. You can put, nominate people.
Yeah, absolutely. And, along with the responsibility of a nomination, I always encourage people that not only should they nominate somebody that seems to be on the cutting edge or already starting to innovate in their classroom, which is great to recognize their accomplishments for that, but also look for somebody that's able to attend the summit, which is always the last full week of July. In any given year. So that's always, I think, an important piece, because if you nominate somebody and they can't come to Summit, then you kind of have almost a wasted nomination out there in my eyes. But
right. Yeah. And I know in my building, my principals pretty much point blank say, they have a couple of people in mind and they'll go through and pick the one that year that can make it. And not that it always happens, because one of our picks this year had a torn MCL, so she wasn't able to make it. So things like that do come up, but you're right. Yeah. It's really important, not just to get that nomination, that acknowledgement, but really to come to Summit to kind of finish it off is huge.
Yep, absolutely. So, and of course, if anybody that's ever been nominated to be a Keystone can choose to attend Summit at any point in time, even if they've never applied. So there's always the benefit of that as well. We've had a couple of recent examples of people that were nominated during PDE's running of the Keystone PDE and the intermediate units running of KTI from 2004 to 2010, and they waited until just recently to take advantage of their opportunity to apply for and attend the summit. So since we've got several thousand nominees out there, any of them could at any point in time reach out to me and find out how they could apply for the upcoming summit.
Yeah, and that's even just advocating for yourself. If you know this is going, a teacher down the hall went their experience and going in and saying, "Hey, would you consider me?" There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that.
Absolutely not.
Look like you're gonna say something, Dom. I don't want to speak over you.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, so yeah, just kind of rolling with it. So not only do you have that piece as far as the stars being nominated, but there is an element of lead learners. And would you talk about what the lead learners are and kind of how that process works for us?
Yeah, think of it. A lot of times when I'm trying to explain what the summit is, I kind of put it in terms of a traditional summer camp. So you've got the campers, the people that are coming that end up being our stars, and then you've got the staff, or what we refer to as the lead learners. And that's about 20 of us that start planning sometime around February 1st. And we plan from February clear through the event at the end of July. By forming subcommittees, and they meet offline, well, not offline, but they meet off of designated meeting times, and they plan for their particular section of the event. And then we get back together on occasion to review where everybody is, so everybody's in the know. And if there are concerns, they can be expressed, and we can work through those. And sometimes the committees want feedback on what's going on, and want to know from the rest of the group if we think something will work. And we just have really open lines of communication. But the rubber doesn't really hit the road until most people get out of school, any place between Memorial Day and June 15th, it seems like these days. And then everybody gets really busy and scrambling, and a lot of the preparation work happens there in the last 6 weeks. 8 weeks running up to summit. And of course, when we arrive on campus on Sunday afternoon, it really starts hopping then too, as a lot of things start to come together, as materials are gathered and unpacked from cars, and people can actually pull together things like welcome bags that might have pieces of welcome bags coming from 3 or 4 different locations across the Commonwealth to campus. So it would, I think, amaze people how much comes together at the last second, as well as in the last 8 weeks, as we get ready for the attendees to join us. So
yeah, it's a strong collaborative effort, and that's what's nice about it.
Always. And what most people that have not paid close attention toward the end of the week may forget or may have overlooked that the entire staff, all of the lead learners do this work completely for free. It's their passion. They've all been through the program at some point in time, and they do it for the love of the work. So I'm always been very grateful and blessed that we've had more people apply to be on staff, that we could choose the cream of the crop and bring along the best staff for that particular year and for that particular summit.
Yeah, and the important thing for whether it's staff, whether it's the summit attendees, when evaluations and all that's occurring, it's a blind look. It's all like you do a good job of stripping out all that information. Obviously, it's getting harder and harder that, I post all of my materials to ericverno.com. Like little things like that slip through if people have websites and stuff. And but for the most part, it's taken on face value, not who it is. And you're looking at, what do they feel like they can bring? What are the sessions they offer? And, and I tell people a true story when we're at Pete and C at Hershey, and you just point blank to me and you said, if you didn't freshen your set of sessions, you weren't going to make the cut. And I'm like, just had that little small voice, like, I'm just going to do 3 brand new ones this year. And I guess I was resting on my laurels a little too much because you were ready to call me out for that. So at that time I was a regional director, and for, people to know, like, it's not a guaranteed in, it's just Scott as KTI chair, it's nominated by the as set in by the president of the PHT board. He's guaranteed. And then from there it rolls. And then, but for the most part, the slate is wide open every year. And that's the exciting thing too, because again, as I was getting a little rusty dusty there for a couple of years. If it's the same people nonstop all the time, there's a little bit, you need to have new blood, new things pulled in. And like you said about the coming together, I'm sure when we talked to our first time lead learner, for even a lot of them, it was very shocking about how it came together starting on Sunday at lunch, in essence, when we got to campus.
Yeah, and one thing that most people don't put together, they don't realize, in any given year, this was a large year, 6 out of 20. So that's like about 30% of the staff, about a third of the staff turned over this year, which has only happened ever once before. It's usually a little bit smaller number, so it's more manageable. But there's always some place between I'm going to say 15 and 20%, 15 and 30% of the staff turning over, because you've got to have some people around that know what's going on, so that they can essentially train the new staff, guide them in the right appropriate directions, and so we don't lose the spirit of what we do during the week to accomplish the goals that we're out to accomplish with the KTI Summit, which essentially have remained, the goals and the methodology have remained unchanged for nearly nearly the entire 20-year history of Keystones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The content's
You know-
changed, the approach has changed, but the methodology, the learning science behind it, I guess, which has never really occurred to me until Jed Hamburger, from superintendent from up in the North Central area, kind of pointed out that there really is a lot of learning theory and a lot of learning science behind it. And I covered not really put it in that context ever before. So,
Well, I mean, you know,
Yeah.
he's doing a lot with being a wordsmith, because he did call you out as a legend. And I just so you know,
Yeah.
in case you missed that during your deal.
I don't know about that. I saw that go by, and I'm not sure I'd have gone that far. But thanks, Jed.
Hey, well, listen, it was a little
Yeah.
L at least. Okay, so it wasn't
Yeah.
a big L. So all right, you got a little bit of growth to do.
Oh, definitely a legend. I mean, way back in the day, I remember I went in 2009 as a learner and an attendee, and then was a mentor back then in 2010. And I'd always, followed you on social media, and you've always been someone I've gotten ideas from and whatnot. So you are definitely a legend.
Thanks, Tom.
You're welcome.
All right, and then
Always
the
trying
other
to look
reference
forward
is-
to what's next. So,
And the other reference is Papa Keystones, as we'll talk about Mama Keystones here in a little bit. But the one comment I made to somebody is, really when we look at KTI, it's bigger than any one of us.
Right.
It is this big thing, but it takes all of us to make it happen. And it's like, there'll come a point in time where, one or two of us, we're not able to make it, or different things happen, and it's still going to roll. It's still going to be what it is. It's because, like you said, the passion project side, it's just the people in PACT. It would be interesting to look at those numbers. How many were KTIs? We have so many in our population as far as an organization, that if anybody was asked to kind of go in that position, that passion would step up. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the learners, the attendees, whenever they come in, they start out not really knowing what's going on, but not even by the end of the week, even before then, they're contributing, and the lead learners are taking information away and learning from them too. So it's a great, symbiotic, it would be the proper term, but there's a definite back and forth. And even the learners and attendees are contributing to the whole process. They may not realize it, but everyone's picking up from them also.
right, a lot of give and take there. And I should note too that while we kind of implied that it's strictly Pennsylvania educators, we do have a path for out-of-state educators, that if they can make it to Shippensburg, that they can attend KTI Summit. So that's not always clearly out there, but you just have to contact me. We run some of those applications through our out-of-state, PACT's out-of-state regional board. So that's there, and it's we do that for basically K-12 classroom teachers, and then we've also done that out-of-state and in-state for our friends in higher education, working in ed tech and things like that, giving them an opportunity to come. So we've got pathways for anybody interested in innovative teaching with technology to get to Summit, as long as they can get themselves to Shippensburg University.
It's a good point.
Yeah.
It's a good point. Well, so listen, we could have a conversation about this the whole time, and Dom and I, Dom and I could talk.
Yes.
We tied our hands behind our back, so we could talk a lot. But I think it's better if we pull some people in who've been through that experience to kind of share about it, and let's hear straight from them tonight. So let's go ahead and what an awesome night. We still have another night, August 15th, to talk a little bit more KTI, but amazing stuff discussed tonight. So I truly appreciate everybody being here. And, it's just always important for us to say PACT,
We are
the voice of EdTech in PA.
and beyond.
Let's thank our sponsors. PACT would like to thank our corporate council sponsors. We'd like to thank EduSpire for being our venture sponsor. Tech the next step. Thank you so much for ClassLink for sponsoring PACT. More time learning, less time logging in. And Go Guardian, a proud sponsor of PACT. And finally, thank you to Howard Technology Solutions for being our corporate council sponsor. We'd like to